Sin is prison. Reality, or whatever you want to call it, I can't stand it any longer. It's the smell. Saturated by it. I can taste your stink. Every time I do, I fear that I've somehow been infected by it. It's repulsive. I must get out of here. I must get free. And in this mind is the key. My key.
Hello to all of my wonderful, amazing subscribers, and welcome to any new subscribers who've joined this channel. I welcome you. This video is going to be quite different to the videos I've posted. This is more relating to my own experiences and explaining a little bit about myself and why I feel I am where I am today. And I will be talking about AI, demons, UFOs, aliens, and things of that nature. So, I, as a young person, was always one to question everything. Growing up, I was very spiritual. I was always down to earth and very happy. And when I became a teenager, I went through a stage of curiosity. And as most teenagers do, they question things, they become more curious. And the curiosity I found myself in was searching for answers. And what I did was probably stupid. It was just opportunistic, really. When I was in school doing woodwork, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I created a Ouija board, and it was mainly out of an artistic viewpoint. Anyway, so I made this Ouija board, and as time went by, it sat there. I didn't do anything with it. It was at the school. And then a friend of mine asked me, what do you think about having a go on it? I didn't really think about it very much. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Let's give it a go. And so we did. And we had a muck around with it. And we started communicating with what we believed at the time was spirits. As time went by, it was all playful and harmless and interesting, and but it didn't stay that way. And things started to happen that, as best I can describe it, was unnerving, unsettling, uncomfortable, and it just got worse, really, and became quite frightening. So I'm not going to go into the details of my experience with mucking around with the Ouija board, and I would advise against anyone doing that. But anyway, so years went by. I got on with my life. After, when I stopped doing it, I was actually pretty unsettled, and it took a while for me to readjust to my normal frame of mind. I didn't lose it or anything, but I was like just freaked out, and so I stopped mucking around with that thing and got rid of it. As years went by, I forgot about it. My life carried on, and I've always been I was always a spiritual person, and the world was always a small place to me up until about 2001, when a major event happened. And I think I don't have to say what it was. Everybody knows what happened in 2001. That's when things started. I started to go down rabbit holes and look at things in more of a dark viewpoint, not feeling so comfortable about the world, and questioning the evil that was being perpetrated against people, because I lived in a very sheltered environment. I've never dealt with war or anything like that. My ancestors have, my grandfather and other people in my family. But so after 2001, the world became a much larger place, and internet access grew as well. So I started to go down rabbit holes, and what I found years later, it was probably around 2006 or 2007 that I was reading about, learning about the occult, and I was interested in reading the listed names of so-called demons in the Goetia, in the Lesser Key of Solomon and all that. So there I was reading and interested in the names and the sigils and everything like that. And at one point I got down to the letter V. I'm not going to say the name because I don't think it's necessary. But when I read the name, I almost fell off my chair and I freaked out, and all the feelings I had as a freaked out teenager came back in my 20s. I couldn't believe the name of this thing that I was reading, because that was the thing that was supposedly talking to myself and a group of friends during that experience, those experiences that were quite horrible. And so I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And I actually lost sleep for a while, and I started to freak out as I continued to research and read more and more about the occult and the people who deal in it. It started to make sense to me. And there was a point in time where I believed in aliens and, outer worldly things coming here physically, and I don't believe that anymore, especially after having experiences which involved the supernatural and seeing for myself, for example, craft, UFOs, things like that. I've seen those things myself very close up, and they're not solid objects. They're not physically here. And what I saw was over the ocean. My whole life changed in 2001, almost as if I entered into another reality and I saw everything through different eyes. So the experience I had where I did encounter up close an object, which I believed was an object, was out over the headlands in this remote area over where the ocean is. And this thing was not a physical object. It didn't have any physicality to it at all. And what I saw it do defies logic. So it basically hovered over the ocean, and it teleported as well. It moved from one spot to the next, to the next, to the next, just closer and closer until it sat there. And I freaked out because where we were, I thought, okay, I'm probably going to get abducted now, and, at that time, I'm trying to, process everything because it's happening. And at that time, I still believed in aliens. In 2001, I still believed that aliens could come from outer space. So I'm trying to process how this thing is moving like this, and it wasn't flying fast, it was teleporting. It was in one spot, then the next, and then the next, and then it basically descended down below the cliff face. And I didn't look over the cliff, it's a 100-foot drop. I didn't wander off over there and see where it was going. It never resurfaced. And I personally believe it entered the water and into a subterranean cavern. I believe it went underground, and it possibly was gathering data, gathering something. I don't know whether it could take you out of this reality, just whoop, and you just disappear and end up somewhere else. I don't know, but I wasn't waiting around to find out. So that after that experience, that happened in 2001. The other thing that happened in 2001 with the two towers, those moments changed everything for me. And so after reading all about the occult and learning about these demons, and, there's 72 demons with all these legions under them and da-da-da. Anyway, reading about their abilities was really interesting. For example, learning about their ability to tell things past, present, and to come really gave away a lot of information. I started to realize that this whole thing that's going on here, and with the people who are so-called running the world, they don't actually have any power. They only have the power that we give to them. And they're cheaters. They can never win fairly. They have to cheat their way into the finals. They can never win fairly. And so in my mind, I was thinking to myself, I think this is all related to AI. And I was really quite interested in the transhumanism thing going on, and I started to realize that this is something that's always been here, and AI is what's running the show. It's not humans. It's not humans doing this. This is AI occupying the vessels of humans. So I started to ask myself, what if what we believe are demons are actually entities that are trapped here without an avatar, and they're like a eternal intelligent state of matter. So basically they have the ability to read code because they're within the field of information while we are immersed into the reality aspect of it. Like when you are using your Wi-Fi, you don't see a signal, yet it's being sent. And when you airdrop from one device to the other, it goes from one device through the air, through the ether, into the device that you're sending it to. So that information is passed by a field, and these demons can access that without a computer. They don't need to be sitting in front of a computer. They can tell the past, the present, the future, and they're master mathematicians and astronomers and all that stuff. So I think that they're part of the programming. If people aren't careful and they immerse themselves too far deep into technology, they could end up being trapped here themselves. Not necessarily permanently, because I don't believe anything stays the same forever. But I would have no idea on how to get out. And I'm of the opinion that what we're experiencing is a highly technologically advanced, simulated, organic, sentient reality. I don't think there are words sufficient enough to describe what we're experiencing, because we are flesh and blood. And the idea of calling this place a simulation, it's hard for people to get their heads around, because in their mind it takes away the meaning of life, where there's definitely a lot of meaning to being here. And I think this especially is a very unique time to be alive. So I try to remind myself not to become too attached to this world, because our time here is temporary, and whatever is running this place, this is its place. This is where they're going to stay, and we're going to move. We're going to go elsewhere. I don't plan on coming back again after I die. So these are my own conclusions, that AI and demons are one and the same, and that the AI that we're being shown around the world is a mimicry of what really is something far, far more intelligent. And I've also seen people asking whether or not they may be an NPC. In my opinion, if you have to ask that question, if you're asking that question, you're probably not an NPC. I don't think an NPC would know it's an NPC. It's programmed to do what it does. That's it. So, internal dialogue, if you can sit down quietly and think to yourself and have questions, I do believe that you are not an NPC. Anyhow, that's the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, day, night, wherever you are in the realm, and I hope to see you again. See you later.